Welcome to Out of the Ordinary on this super sunny day, which is why we're both wearing our sunglasses. And I am with
Jen.
Oh, and I'm Jay. So two Jays.
Two Jays.
Okay, Jen, how old are you?
I'm 36.
Okay, and where are you from originally?
Originally from Michigan, Midwest.
Okay,
Woo.
and what do you do for a living?
I am a director of a juniors beach volleyball club.
Oh, how fun.
I
Okay.
guess technically sand. We live in Arizona now.
Oh, okay.
But we travel to beaches.
Okay, okay, well, we'll get into that later. Okay, cool. So I wanted to talk with you about relationships. Let's go there.
Let's do that.
Okay, feel free to mess things up here for people. Okay,
Perfect.
Let's talk about men first of all. What do you think about men?
Man, they provide a lot and they also annoy us a lot.
Yeah? If not for the first, they'd be the worst.
I think.
Oh, hold on one second. We got Mr. Lawnmower guy going by here.
Lawnmower.
The Lawnmower Man. By the way, if you haven't seen that old movie, watch The Lawnmower Man. It's kind of freaky, especially with the AI stuff coming on now.
Seen it. I'll have to go watch that.
Anyway, really old movie, but really creepy compared with the AI stuff now. Okay, so tell us more about men.
So I think we need men, women. We need them. They create balance. We are so opposite and so different in the way we are chemically and mechanically built, the way we think, the way we do things. I think we need a balance, a yin and a yang. I feel like that's what men and women are. Why do we gotta get rid of them? We love men.
Okay, I'm gonna agree with you on this, but I will say this because you mentioned like so different and thinking different and all. I think you said something like that, and I agree. In fact, it's almost so different that it astounds me that there's any coupling whatsoever. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Like it's kind of like not to draw too much of a parallel, but it kind of reminds me of like an employee-employer relationship, right? Like the employee wants to work as little as possible and get as much money as possible. The employer wants to work them like a dog and paying nothing. You know what I mean? Somehow we reconcile those.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it seems to me like men and women, like if I was to go through and like ask like if people were being like 100% honest and I was to ask the guys like their top 10 goals and like a woman's top 10 goals, like there wouldn't be a lot of alignment if they were being super truthful. Yet somehow, some way. Anyway, okay, so now tell me about women. You've described men and how hairy and smelly we are, so go on.
I think what's cool about women is we have, the women's intuition. Hey, shout out. And I think...
Yet you still date men, so I question that intuition altogether. But anyways, go ahead.
Like I said, we need men.
Okay.
We need the balance. We need to be challenged in different ways, and so do you guys. And I think women, we have intuition. We have, where most of us are empaths. There's a lot of us that are reds out there that are just like do authoritative. But I think that all meshes up in who you choose and how you kind of balance each other out. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, back on the men thing real quick, it just made me think of, I saw this little, I don't know what it was, some meme, but it was a billboard and it said, so many men die of stubbornness every year. And then handwritten, it says, no, we don't. That's pretty funny.
That's perfect.
Anyway,
that's too good.
Really good. Okay, so the one thing I think is interesting about women that I've just, and I'd love for you to correct the record here, but that I've seen just kind of observationally is like, there's like two sides of the same coin. I suppose guys do this too, but like they can be like so catty and almost like cruel to one another. Like they can be almost each other's like worst enemies. Like it's like this weird, I don't know what it is. But on the other hand, man, if you need like a shoulder to cry on or someone to like feel your pain or whatever, they're there for you. So it's like this two, do you know what I mean?
Totally, yeah.
It's weird.
I think with women and we just, we take things a lot more personally. We hold our relationships a lot closer and deeper, so it's easier to hurt us when we care about somebody more. I think with guys, like with women, it's bond to battle. You have to bond with them to go to battle with them. And with men, it's like battle to bond. You guys go to battle, and that is how you bond. If I'm talking in like athletes' terms of like competing or like going off to war, I don't know. But I will say like men are a lot easier to like give digs at each other and not take it personal and go back and forth and be playful. And that's not how our chemicals allow us to be. We can do it. We can do it.
No,
like,
that makes sense. I think that's,
I do it with some people, and then I've hurt
true.
their feelings, and I understand. But like, I've had people do it to me, and they hurt my feelings, and I was like,
it
dang,
is-
I'm
it
in my
is different.
feels, man. I'm in my feels.
Somewhere in there too, I heard women are deep. which makes me think men are shallow, to which I say I'm not a good swimmer. So anyway, okay,
No.
so on dating, what type of people what types should people avoid?
Anybody that's not willing to reflect on themselves and make them better and just always blame. Like, that is a big red flag. If you're not growing and moving together, get rid of them. 100%. They're not there to propel with you and level up with you. They're there to blame you and hold you down.
Gotcha. I do think some of that. I just my own personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? Like, I feel like a lot of that is so much of that, like what you described as timing.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, like, I don't know, like, let's say you were in school, say we're dating and you're in school and you're just getting out, you finally graduated, and now you're going to be this doctor, right?
Right.
And I'm doing whatever, and now, boom, you're off in this career, and meanwhile, I'm maybe left doing something else, and now we're not, you know, like, it seems like timing can be a weird part.
Definitely.
Do you think timing's a part of it?
I think timing is a part of it, for sure, definitely.
Yeah?
You've got to be in the same spaces, in the same goals, in the same commitment level, or it's just not going to work, and it's going to pit you away from each other.
I guess there's a reason that saying timing is everything, right?
Timing is everything.
Yeah, okay, I was going to ask you, like, what to look for in people, but I think you kind of said that, too. Did you not? I think you did. No?
I mean...
What types of people should you look for, I guess, then we'll just ask it.
Yeah, I kind of...
Okay, Jen, tell me your thoughts on marriage and divorce.
Okay, Jay. So, I feel like divorce is a good tool to have. People make bad decisions, right? You get buyer's remorse. Or you just marry somebody that you don't know. Or the thing is, you know them, you love them, and we're moving in different vibrations and growing at different rates. So, divorce is a good tool to have. I don't think that we should abolish it and see it as such a negative. But I do think we should put a lot more thought and trials and tribulations into our relationships before we take that marriage step. Because marriage is supposed to be, sacred and the last person that you're committing to for the rest of your life, for richer or poorer, for better or worse.
And it not never, but it not rarely, sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Right.
And I'm going to give you my kind of terrible thoughts on marriage.
Okay.
So I just want to get your opinion on it. So I love everything you said. I think I agree with it. I think it's excellent. But I like your idea of thinking it through a little bit more. But here's sort of my criticism to marriage.
Yeah.
Is one of the vows typically is till death do us part.
Yeah.
Right? And here's how I kind of like blow up the marriage idea in my own brain anyways, is let's just codify that into law. Meaning, if you were to get a divorce, you're dead.
That's scary.
No, but I'm saying, but if you're making this vow, so into it, so death do us part, and you really mean it, if you were to codify it into law, meaning any marriage that doesn't work, any separation, any divorce, ends in death for the people that are no longer in it, how many marriages do you think thered be?
Oh my gosh.
Not very many.
Yeah, not very many, that's for sure.
And what does that tell you about the institution? I'm just making a hypothetical argument. Is like, I kind of feel like, people get married when the chips are up and everything's going good, and you know what I mean? And all these things, and then I'm like, it just seems like a little bit better than any normal relationship to me, which is to say, people stick around until it's no longer working, and then they go. And there's there's kind of like this paper in between to like, well, just think about it a little bit more, Right. And maybe I think that's probably a good thing, but I don't know what I think about that. And I do agree with you on divorce, obviously, because, like, there's another saying that I hear all the time where, and I'll let you talk in a second and quit interviewing myself, but where they'll say, like, oh, well, this is what I signed up for, right? And, their spouse ends up getting hooked on some illicit drug and ends up beating them.
Yeah.
Well,
that's not what you signed up for.
They did not sign up for that.
Exactly.
But on the other hand,
the terms of the contract have changed.
Right, but then if you were to listen to the death do us part, well, do you know what I mean? Like, so, I don't think people are really as into it as they say when they say till death do us part, and that's what they signed up for. And to that I say, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because it could be a lot of people stay in some pretty rough relationships as a consequence of those words sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Too.
And I think too, what I think about, because I've not married, never been married, I've been in a relationship that was like 9 years long, didn't get married. I think that when marriage was brought about, when these words were made, we have evolved as people, and our ideals and values and traditions have evolved as people. This seems like it's straight from like the 16, 17.
Well, I mean,
when they didn't live that long.
I mean, it also
too.
goes back to when depending on how far you take it back. I mean, it was a matter of survival. You know, trade
Right.
4 sheep and a chicken for your
Yeah.
daughter. You know,
Right.
and so like that was kind of an
Exactly.
interesting
So why haven't we upgraded this? Like,
Yeah.
It's a little aggressive for me, for sure. I do think a lot of people don't take that into consideration and that deep anymore with how we live these days. I will say I don't think many people really consider the death do us part.
Yeah, well, obviously they don't.
Probably pick and choose what they want.
The divorce rate's higher than 50%,
Right.
so we know that that's not true.
Exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. I just it's just an interesting
Upgrade
situation.
the language.
Yeah, I like the concept of it. I think, but it just like I would make the argument that your 9-year relationship with whoever you were with was more significant than somebody that, you know, just got married after dating a month and were together 2 years.
Oh, totally.
You know, which was the more significant relationship?
100%.
You know, you weren't married, but like,
Yeah.
you know, they
It's
were
like-
only in it for 2 years.
Yeah.
So who had the more significant relationship? Well, they've got the paper.
Yep.
Does that mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, that sort of speaks to its, you know, I think for me, where marriage comes into play, I think is where it's the most helpful would probably be, and you can have your own opinion on this, of course, but my thing is probably where you have children involved.
Yeah.
And it's like, it gives you like one last, hey, you better really think about this. Do you know what I mean? It's like one bigger hurdle you've got to overcome to like make such a significant move. And I think in a modern day, that probably is where it makes the most sense for me. But I don't know.
I do agree, because what it does help you do, which I don't think a lot of people in relationships outside of marriages, they hit their breaking point of they're fed up of whatever their partner isn't changing. But it's like, hey, we chose each other. This means something to us. We did make a contract to each other together to help them work through better, versus if we're just dating, we can just be like, all right, peace. As hard as that is, you definitely don't have that safeguard in place, for sure, to think about on a deeper level.
You just made me think of this quote that I heard that's pretty funny, that I don't remember who said it, but it basically says, women want a man that they can change, and men want a woman that will never change. Isn't that great?
That's too good.
Isn't that so true? It's so sad.
True.
Anyway.
We do. We have like savior complex. We want to fix our men.
Right. and the guys never want their woman to change from the moment that they saw him. That's it.
100%.
Anyway, pretty funny.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck.
That's when I need that pill back from the first one.
For the immortal thing, yes. Okay, what do you think of? What do you have thoughts on monogamy? Is it like is it better to be honest or faithful? Do you have any thoughts on the idea of monogamy?
I feel like society's just changed so much, and I feel like marriage doesn't mean as much as it did anymore. And I feel like just a lot of people act on their instant gratification or what makes them happy, or the ideals have changed a lot in society. To each their own.
Yeah, no,
each their own.
Yeah, I think I would say live and let live. The only place where I sort of part ways with the whole thing is I just think, for me, when I think of that concept, it's sort of like more of the honesty and the trust factor.
Yeah.
Like a betrayal.
Right.
So like it's, so I don't know if it's so much as the, you know, the act, so to speak, as it is, you know, we're not being honest with one another. And I think that could be an issue.
100%. And I think anybody, no matter what situation you're in, relationship, religion, like trust is huge.
Yeah.
You have that.
Yeah, or you don't, right? So prenuptial agreements. What do you have? Any thoughts on that?
I think they're good safeguards to protect yourself. I do think it also can set a tone or a thought in your brain that like, oh, they're not fully invested. They don't fully trust me. If a prenup is like set against you, I feel like that's a tough situation. But also, like, you got to think, like, were you there to help them build what they built? And if you weren't, like, why? Like, I get being with somebody and like 10 years in with kids, like they should want to help you out of that situation. But like, if you had nothing to do with the building of what they did.
Well, and also I was back on the prenuptial agreement too. It's also cuts two ways, right? If money doesn't matter or doesn't matter, then the prenuptial shouldn't matter.
Right, yeah.
Right? I mean, if you're
For
if
sure.
one's stating that.
Totally.
But my advice on monogamy is this: if you're or not monogamy, sorry, on prenuptial agreements, is on prenuptial agreements. If you're a millionaire, get one.
Yeah.
If you're not a millionaire, definitely don't get one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you have a shot. You have a shot at taking a whole bunch.
Right. If you got assets to protect that you brought into the relationship, protect them.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, what makes a good relationship? Have we already covered that? No, I don't know.
Trust, open, honesty, conversations, growing together, reflection on when you effed up, and apologizing when you mean it.
People apologize?
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Here's my favorite kind of apology. I'm sorry you feel that way.
Oh, gaslighting is my favorite. I can't.
I just love that one.
I cannot.
I'm
sorry I made you feel that way. How about that? How about that? Take that, transition it to that.
That's my favorite kind of apology. Is like I'm sorry you took it that way. I'm sorry you feel that way. Oh, that is the best non-apology apology of all time.
Great gaslighting.
Oh, it's brutal.
Great gaslighting.
Brutal. I don't know if that's ever worked.
They just lit the fire.
I don't know if that's ever worked, but yeah. Anyway.
I can't imagine it.
Okay, what's a deal breaker for you in a relationship?
Oof. Messy, dirty, around the house.
Slob.
Yeah, cannot. If you don't respect the cars too, like I can't deal with a dirty car. If you're not respecting your house and your car, like I can't.
So is your level like OCD, everything alphabetized?
No.
Or is it like, please don't leave your dirty socks on the floor?
Yeah, please don't leave your dirty socks on the
Okay.
floor. Like things have a place. I'm not OCD, but also like clean the toilet once a week. Like make the bed every day. I want
Whoa,
a good
whoa,
balance.
whoa. Okay.
A good
Some
balance.
tough check boxes there, but a good job. I like
know.
it. Okay. Have you ever had your heart broken? And if so, what was that like? How'd you get over it?
Yes, I have.
Sorry.
A few times. It sucks, but you learn from those experiences.
Some of us.
Some of us. Hopefully, right? Hopefully you can learn what you're not willing to tolerate if you're disrespected, or what you did wrong and you need to be better. These are skills we need to figure out to be better at having relationships too, and I think people forget that. Like,
right.
Sometimes it was your fault and sometimes it was not.
So how did you get over heartbreak? Especially like the first big one. Like what was it that was it just time or?
Cried myself to sleep every night, got cookie dough and all the pleasures and luxuries, and honestly the biggest one, women, you know it all too well, the revenge body. Like you go and you work hard in the gym and you get your frustration, your anger out, and you're productive with all the emotions that are bottling up, like letting your emotions out and literally just vigorously working hard.
So you look good, feel good, and this is what he's missing out on. Is that the idea?
I mean, that's what a revenge body is, right?
Yeah, that's what you
But it's like the things behind it, the gym, working hard and physically pushing myself felt good because then I was too tired to sit there all day and be pent up, right? And then obviously getting all your emotions out and crying, they're not bottling up inside of you, and then you're not getting...
Hold on, we got a helicopter. We've got helicopters and weed whackers and lawnmowers, and we're like out in the middle of nowhere in this park. Anyway, yeah, exactly. Okay, so anyways, you were saying, sorry.
But yeah, so like the layman's term, revenge body, but the actions behind it, being productive, making sure you're physically exhausted, making sure you're emotionally expressing what you need to, gets you through it. The longer you just lay in bed or you depress yourself or you isolate yourself, the more it hurts, the longer it hurts, because then you're scrolling social media and you're doing all the things, scrolling through the texts, and then
as opposed to being productive.
Right, and then those wounds just get...
I mean, I guess the other part is productive. You kind of have to go through, what are those
the stages,
the stages of grief or whatever.
Grief,
you gotta go through them.
Which you do, and it's a normal thing, but let me tell you, like, you being productive and actually taking care of yourself, self-care, ladies and gentlemen, is going to get you through those things faster, because then you're reclaiming your self-worth and nobody can take that away from you.
Can I tell you what my way of getting through this was?
Yeah.
And tell me what you think about it.
Yeah.
Because I struggled with this for some time, and then it just hit me one time, and because like I say it was think of your first biggest one, your first biggest loss, whatever, and I just remember thinking like, I am never gonna like replace that space, right? That's what I was thinking.
Yep.
What my epiphany was is, that's okay. I don't have to replace it. I'll just move it over and make more room for more. And that was sort of my idea.
Yeah.
And so it worked. Basically, that's
Yeah.
kind of how I ended up getting through it. Was like, I didn't need to like replace that loss or replace that. What I just needed to do was make more space for, you know, a new
Yeah, and
newness.
I like that, because why are we trying to replace somebody? You're gonna meet somebody different, so why are we even comparing, right?
Well, and
so
also,
I kind of like that a lot.
And also, how can you replace like you can't? It's very difficult to manufacture bad memories if they were
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
oh, she was such a horrible person, when really, you know, like, she was pretty good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or, oh,
totally.
we didn't have any good times. Meanwhile, you're like, except for those 200 times I can
Right.
remember, right? So it's like, I just found it to be more authentic to say, hey, it was great and it didn't work out.
Yep.
Let's move it to the side and make room for more. And then thankfully, you know, my heart is big enough to add
Yeah,
more. And that was kind of
absolutely.
like the idea.
Yeah.
So you like that?
For sure.
Okay,
I do.
cool.
I
Okay.
think that's awesome.
Okay. Is it okay to stay friends with an ex?
Yes.
It is.
As long as you have good boundaries and you are open and honest in communication with the person that you're dating.
And by boundaries,
Like if they're not okay with it. Okay, so my situation is I'm still friends with my ex of 9 years. We have a dog together still.
Mhm.
My new relationship, knew about him as I started this relationship because I was transitioning out of the old one like a couple months before the new guy that I was dating for 3 years now.
Mhm.
It's crazy. Wasn't okay with that at first, and I was just like, you know, like, this is somebody who's been in my life for almost 10 years. We have a dog together. Not just gonna X out communication.
Yeah, when you say 10 years, you know, you really have to think of what 10 years means, right?
Yeah.
That's almost a third of your adult life.
Yeah.
More than half, or no, more than half of your adult life, almost a third of your entire
Mhm.
life. I mean, it's a significant, anyway, so
Yep.
yeah, go on.
So, how we came to it is, you know, I'm just open and honest about what I'm communicating about. He doesn't feel the need to check my text or anything like that. And let me preface it with this: like, my ex lived in Arizona, and the guy I'm dating lived in California. He's moving here now, but just keep being open and honest. And like, he's from a family who's very traditional. They cut off their exes, so he was not okay with it.
Not a fan.
His parents are still married, still like happy marriage. They're awesome, but
So
just
you,
wasn't something I'm not willing to. If there's no bad blood and there's not a toxic reason to like cut them out,
right.
and they're not doing anything and they're respecting my boundaries, then I don't feel like there's a need to do that. And eventually my new relationship was open and okay with it because I was consistent and honest, and there's nothing going
There's
on.
that honesty thing
Yeah.
again, which I think is the hallmark.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. So you'd say maybe this might be going a little too far. Let's say you're watching a show and you can't sleep, you're an insomniac. It's 1 a.m. and you're watching some funny part of whatever, Friends or whatever. You're like, oh, my ex really loves this one. You think texting him at 1 in the morning, probably not a good idea.
Why not? I think that's like one of the boundaries, right? I think, yeah, they can be a friend. It just, especially because they were an ex, you have to be mindful of your current relationship and what those boundaries are. You kind of have to come up with them together, what you're okay with and what you're not. I'm definitely not texting him after 9 p.m. Definitely not texting him just super randomly all the time. And I think there's levels of friendship too that you can still keep, and it doesn't have to be the deepest, best friendship, like the girl best friend that's really annoying the wife, right?
Right. And no texting vegetables like eggplant.
Oh my god.
Or anything else.
No. See,
Donuts.
and then when that boundary is crossed and they can't respect it, that's when you're like, okay, you're not respecting my boundary, get out.
Okay, so give me some personality traits that you enjoy.
I enjoy somebody who is really funny.
Okay.
Positivity is freaking huge. Optimism is huge. I can't deal with pessimists bringing me down and people that are super judgmental, so that's definitely huge.
Those are good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what is personality traits that you just can't stand? Or I guess you kind of said.
Pessimistic,
Yeah.
Judgmental.
Yeah, I got you. Kind of repeating it.
Very reactionary,
Mm.
flying off the handle, not
Gotcha.
able to process their emotions.
Okay, we probably already covered this, so this will be the last one. Is there any one thing everyone should know about relationships, like that people seem to miss or fail on?
They're hard. They're hard. You're gonna have that honeymoon period where you just meet them and you're dating and it's super cute, and you like don't forget why you started or you were starting to connect with this person, or what drew you to them. Like, don't ever forget that. We do change and we do evolve as people, so expect that too. And if you're not on a path to change, like, your partner's probably growing without you, or if you're on a path to change and they're growing with you, awesome. But I think just being aware is huge.
I think that's huge too. The other thing that I would add to that I think of a lot is, because I've got like some friends of mine that have been single basically forever, like very single forever, but they're, of course, they'll complain about, you know, I want to be in a relationship. Meanwhile, all the people I know in relationships are like, I want to be single. I want to be single. So it's like everybody always wants whatever they have. It's like once you've been in something for like 6 months, I swear, everybody I know, everybody I know that's in a relationship, like, oh, you're so lucky to be single. And everybody that's single, like, oh, you're so lucky to be in a relationship. And I'm like, what is going on? But the one thing that I would say is to my friends that have been single like a really long time, or anybody that's been single for a really long time, that's like, geez, why can't I be in a relationship, or I want to be in a relationship? Like, the number one thing to me is like, it's compromise.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
It requires a great deal of compromise. Like, and if you're not willing to go there, and by compromise I mean like, maybe even, I hate to say, but like lowering the bar, or like changing what is the most important things to you, and what you know, maybe a few of your pet peeves, you kind of let them slide a little bit, but like, I think if you're unwilling to compromise, you're just not going to get very far in a relationship.
100%.
Not very long.
100%.
Anyways. Yeah. Anyways, all right.
I agree. That's a good one for the people in the back. Compromisation.
Thank you, Jen. Okay.